All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. May 7th, we got a jam-packed MLB slate to jump into today. Like you guys know, if you are an OG or if you're new, I'll tell you, we go through each and every MLB game on this channel. I give you my lean on both one of the sides of the games as well as the total of the game, but all my final plays, what I'm actually going to be rolling with tonight, will be in the pinned comment. Yesterday was a weird final pick slate for us here. We go 2 and 3. We had 4 of the 5 as plus money plays here, and I will say in terms of what I was actually really liking was Dodgers money line and Twins money line. So if we just stuck with our gut there and played our 2 most confident bets that were the only full unit plays yesterday, we actually would have come out on top. But we did have 3 extra half unit plays that we threw in: the Pirates money line, Brewers money line, and then we had the Rangers money line actually hit. Now I will say Pirates and Brewers are this close to being dead to me, and I mean that. They've let us down now in a little bit. Yesterday I pretty much called both those losses. I was like, hey, if they lose, it's our last chance to bet them. So we'll see where we go from there. But 2 and 3 night is not going to kill us, guys, but we do look to do a little bit better than that tonight. Before we get into the slate, I do want to talk about the ride of the day. We have Here to Argue had a ride of the day. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain it in just a second. But we went with a 3-leg parlay here. He threw in Rays money line, Boston over 9.5 in their game with the Phillies, and then Texas over 8.5 in their game with the Angels, plus 481 odds over on DraftKings. And we were so damn close to hitting the applause sound drop. The Rays money line kills that parlay. The Rays money line kills that parlay. The thing that should have been the lock kills that parlay. So Here to Argue almost came in with the ride of a day, a huge parlay banger, and we come up just short, guys. But if you don't know what the ride of the day is, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments, and I'll be jumping on board with someone's pick in the comments. It could be a parlay, a player prop, a game prop, a total, anything like that. I'll be jumping on board with one person's play in the comments. Then I'll give you guys a shout out, win or loss, in the next video. If you get a loss, you got to face the womp womp. If you win, we pump in some crowd noise, we have a good time and celebrate. So use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. And let's jump into this first game. We got the Braves taking on the Orioles here. On the money line here, Braves are minus 158 at home. Total is sitting at 9 runs as of right now. Braves coming off the win yesterday. Obviously, Baltimore took that game in game 1. They won 9-4, but the Braves win 5-4 yesterday. In terms of who's on the mound, we have Elder on the mound for the Braves, 3-0 with a 1.75 ERA, and then the Orioles have Tyler Wells on the mound, 2-1 with a 3.34 ERA. He has definitely done a good job for them this year. I do think that you have some decent value here on the Braves. I think that they actually win this one pretty big. So I'm going to lean Braves money line. And when I say value, the fact that I'm talking about having value at a minus 158 play shows where I think the value is, because this should be anywhere from minus 165 to minus 170 in my opinion. So I think that there is some value that you're picking up if you go with the Braves here on the money line. I would not recommend going with the run line. When the Braves win this season, they're not necessarily the best of run line teams. Just like yesterday, they win that game 5-4. But what I also like in this game is going to be taking a peek at the under. You have 2 of the better pitchers on the mound today as well. Elder, obviously, 3-0 with a 1.75 ERA, and then Wells, like I said, one of, if not the better pitcher on the Orioles staff this year, 2-1 with a 3.3 ERA. I like this under here. The only thing that scares me is the fact that these offenses can put up numbers. So yes, you have 2 good pitchers on the mound, but offenses at any given time can go out and do this. For example, the Orioles have scored at least 9 runs in 7 of their last 10 games, and same thing for the Braves. Now the Braves have landed on 9 in 3 of their last 10, so they land right in that number for a push. But I still do like the under here. It's a little worrisome, I'll be honest. I like the Braves a lot more than I do the under in this game, but I'm leaning towards the under. All right, we got the Phillies taking on the Red Sox. This Red Sox team continues to roll. They have won 8 straight games, and they're underdogs in this one yet again. I guess understandably so, because when is this going to fall off? But who knows? You got Taijuan Walker on the mound for the Phillies, 2-2 with a 6.91 ERA. Tanner Houck on the mound, 3-1 with a 5.34 ERA. Yesterday's game, Red Sox win that one 7-4. They're crushing overs. They're winning games. I just think the value still remains on the Red Sox until the wheels fall off. Like I said, this is a situation where in baseball, obviously, teams go on runs, but you got to kind of predict when their wheels are going to fall off, like we're doing with the Brewers and the Pirates. Like, I'm kind of like washing my hands clean of those 2 teams. The Red Sox are just probably, I don't know, maybe 1 series away from that happening, but they're still in their hot streak right now. So yes, they could go out there and win this because, you know, their peak is over and they're starting to lose some games. But right now, I do feel like they still have that momentum and that gusto. So I am going to lean Red Sox here as a plus money play on the run line, or on the money money line, excuse me. And then in terms of a total, we're looking at 9.5 runs. It's high, but you'd be stupid to not be betting Red Sox overs as of late. They're absolutely crushing overs left and right. So I'm going to lean towards the Sox on the money line and the over 9.5. All right, next up, we got the Pirates taking on the Blue Jays here, and we got a little bit of a revenge game going. You should never bet with your gut, but I'm doing. We got the Blue Jays on the money line as our lean in this game. Pirates are underdogs, but you're getting decent value. Blue Jays minus 130 here. Contreras on the mound for the Pirates, 3-2, 4 flatter, 4.09 ERA, and then you have Kikichi on the mound for the Blue Jays, 4-0 with a 4.02 ERA. In fact, if you like the Blue Jays on the run line too, they covered that in both games this series, and that's plus 125 over on BetMGM, so definitely worth considering there. But I like Toronto to win this game. I like them to win it big. They're doing it for us and everyone else that's gotten let down by the Pirates in the last, what they get swept by Tampa Bay, and now they're playing Toronto. Then when I look into it, Pirates have played no teams with a winning record, very easy schedule. I'm like, that's why they were playing such good baseball. So this Pirates team is so close to being dead to me, but this is a revenge spot. Hopefully the Jays can come through and do it for us. But like I said, minus 130 is going to be my play. I like the run line as well. In terms of a total, yesterday Toronto carried their weight. Pittsburgh hasn't scored more than 2 runs in the series. They scored 0 and then 2 yesterday. So if Toronto goes out and scores a bunch of runs again, I like the over. But if they don't, they want to win this one 3-1 or something like that, I like the under, so I'm kind of right on the fence there. So if you guys have a play on the total, let me know in the comments, but I really do back the Blue Jays on the money line, and we might make that a final play just for the revenge factor and to get right, because Pirates lost us to Uni yesterday. New York Mets taking on the Rockies in this one here. The Rockies taking yesterday's game final score by way of a final score of 5-2 here. They did lose game 1 of this series. I think it was 2-0, 1-0, something like that. So they've split the 2 games thus far in the series. On the mound for the Mets, we have Lucchesi. He is 1-0. Lucchesi, whatever his name is, 1-0 with a 3.86 ERA. And Feltner, that's a name I can pronounce. On the mound, 2-2 with a 4.45 ERA. The Mets are really, really heavy favorites at home here. Minus 200 on the money line. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs. I don't really like either side of the Mets here. Let me tell you why. So this Mets team, obviously big favorites here. They still only won 3 of their last 10 games. And in terms of even winning those games, when they are favorites at minus 1.5 on the run line, they've only done that once in their last 10, just like losing the game yesterday. But when they won in game 1, it was a 1-0 game, so they didn't cover that run line either. I don't like any side of the Mets here. The only way that I'm going to lean is sort of a team that's keeping games close even when they do lose. Colorado plus 1.5 on the run line for minus 115 odds over on MGM here. They've done that in 7 of their last 10. They've done it in 6 straight games, so I'm going to lean in that direction. And in terms of a total, I'm going to actually lean towards the under in this one as well. We haven't really seen either of these teams, especially Colorado away from home, trend in the direction of putting up a bunch of runs, and 2 serviceable pitchers on the mound today. I am going to lean towards the under. All right, moving on, we got Tampa Bay taking on the Yankees, and I love how easy it is to know who's pitching for the Yankees here. Tampa Bay plus 105 money line dogs here at home. One of the best, if not the best team in the league, right? And they're underdogs, and I'm like, oh, that means Garrett Cole is on the mound for the Yankees. It's so easy. You can wake up, look at the odds, and say, you know who's pitching for the Yankees. Cole on the mound for them, 5-0 with a 1.35 ERA, going up against Guerra, who's 0-0 with a 7.2 ERA. I'd love to say, hey, Tampa Bay is going to bounce back in a big way and win this one, but Garrett Cole, I wouldn't, bet against him here. So I'm going to lean towards the Yankees on the money line. I don't hate Tampa Bay run line. I do think that obviously Garrett Cole is a stud, an absolute weapon, right? But when he plays, the Yankees haven't really been scoring that many runs. They've scored 3 runs, 4 runs, and 4 runs in his last 3 starts there. So I don't hate Tampa Bay on the run line to keep this game close, but I just can't bet against the best pitcher in the AL here. I feel like he's always sort of a I guess I should say, yeah, you just can't really, in my opinion, can't consider betting against him. If anything, miss the game if you don't like that side. Just like this is a pretty bad spot. Like this Tampa Bay team is awesome, right? And Garrett Cole's on the mound. A lot of people are gonna be like, oh, for plus money, that has value. Sure, Tampa Bay can win, but it wasn't the most logical bet going into the game, just given who's on the mound for the Yankees. So I'm gonna lean Yankees money line. I don't hate Tampa Bay run line. Then in terms of a total 7.5, I like the under there as well. Guardians taking on the Twins. Guardians getting the win yesterday. That Twins one was one that we were very confident about. Minnesota wins game 1, 2-0. Guardians win game 2, 4-3 here on the mound for the Guardians today. We have Quantrill. He is 1-2 with a 4.73 ERA. Joe Ryan on the mound for the Twins, 5-0 with a 2.37 ERA. We're running this one back. We're going Minnesota money line. They are the better team. They are the better team, no doubt about it. And the fact they dropped yesterday's game, they were down, I think 2-0, and they come back to tie it. They're down 3-2. They come back to tie it, and then they end up ultimately losing. But they're the better team here, and they have the better pitcher on the mound. This guy's been a stud this season. I'm leaning towards the Twins pretty heavy here. -135 over on DraftKings. Decent odds as well. And then in terms of a total 8.5, I think this is going to be another low-scoring game, so I'm going to lean towards the under. If I could just put my money where my mouth is, we'd be making boatloads of money off of this Oakland-Kansas City series. I've called Oakland money line now in 2 straight videos, yet I haven't made it a final play, so it doesn't count towards the record or anything like that. And we're going to, consider it again today. That being said, now you're looking at Oakland as favorites. Mason Miller on the mound for them, 3.5 ERA. Yarbrough on the mound for the Royals, 0-3 with a 7.4 ERA. This one now is going to be sort of just a punt away. I'm going to lean Oakland again. But yeah, man, they were heavy underdogs in 2 straight games here, and I said, why wouldn't you? Take them at the +130, take them at the +155, because the Kansas City Royals shouldn't be that heavy of favorites over anyone in the entire league. And they go and win. So I should have put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to lean in that direction again today. And then in terms of a total 10 runs, these 2 teams, just because of the pitching being so bad, I can always see enough runs being scored. Even yesterday, they don't hit that, but it was a 5-4 game. You get one more run, one from one team, it's a push. From both teams score one more run, it's an over. So I'm going to lean towards the over again. But again, this is just such a crappy series. It's why we haven't made it a final play. It's kind of just in jest that I say I should be trusting my gut, but you shouldn't trust your gut when betting on the Athletics in the first place. But we did lean A's money line in both games 1 and 2. St. Louis taking on Detroit, and this Detroit team continues to cover that run line. They also are continuing to win. Now they've won this, they've won 5 straight games, obviously taking the games in this series so far. Game 1 was a 5-4 victory, then a 6-5 victory, and Pirates are yet again heavy underdogs here. On the mound for the Cardinals, Steven Matz with an 0-4 record and a 6.39 ERA. Now, Fado on the mound, I know nothing about the dude, so I will admit that right away. Pitching for the Tigers, I don't know if this is even his first start of the season, career, I don't know. That's why we're gonna continue to look into it throughout the day. But this Tigers team is just keeping games close at the very least. They're winning games right now, but even when they aren't, they're keeping games close. So I do think that this is another spot for the Tigers. Similar to that A's pick, I've leaned this way all series long, but have not pulled the trigger on it because it's like, you're still backing the Tigers. That's a little worrisome in the first place. So we'll look long and hard at this, the guy pitching on the mound today. But in terms of this Tigers team, yeah, they're playing good. They swept the Mets. Now they, could be on the brink of sweeping the Cardinals here. I just think that they're playing good baseball right now. So I think it's a little bit safer to lean with that run line, a little bit of insurance there with the +1.5. And then in terms of the total 9.5, I like the over here. It's not like Mats is keeping runs off the board. And then who knows about this Fado guy. So I like the over in this one, 9.5. All right, Cubs taking on Miami. Cubs with 2 straight here in this one. Game 1, 4-1. Game 2, 4-2. They made us money in one of those games. Miami not playing well when they are favorites, though. They have won 4 of their last 10 games. They've lost 5 straight, though. But when they are favorites, like they are today, they haven't covered a run line in 10 straight games. So I immediately look at this Cubs team and say, you know what? At least we can lean on the run line because they do not play well. Now, pitching matchup here, Hayden Wesnecky, who's having a better year than his opposition. He's 2-1 with a 3.49 ERA, but Sandy Alcantara on the mound, 1-3 with a 5.35 ERA. If you didn't know who Sandy Alcantara is, you'd look at that and say, this dude stinks, right? But we know how filthy he actually is here. So I could see why Miami is favored in this game. And I am going to lean Miami on the money line. But again, I don't hate Chicago +1.5 either. They're a team that when they are underdogs, so +1.5 on the run line, they've actually covered that in 9 of their last 10 games. So that's a team that keeps games very close. Can Wesnecky keep up with Alcantara? I don't see why not. I mean, obviously, Sandy hasn't been all that great this season. We know how good he can be. Is he going to go out there and shove and then all of a sudden Miami, wins 1-0 Whatever. Sure, he's shut out teams before, right? But I do think that there's value on both Miami winning and the Cubs keeping it to 1 run. And then we're looking at the total here. 7 runs. Super low. I'm still going to lean towards the under. That might be crazy, but I still do think the quality of pitching out there today, I think Alcantara is actually going to have a good game, which we've seen few of those this season so far. I think he's going to have a good game. This could be a low-scoring game. San Francisco taking on Milwaukee. Milwaukee now has dropped 6 straight games. They've lost both games in this series. San Francisco's won 6-4 and 4-1, and San Francisco's heavy favorites today. I wish that they were underdogs here. Stripling on the mound for them, 0-1 with a 6.1 ERA. Adrian Hauser on the mound for the Brewers. I'm leaning towards the Giants. I want to take the Brewers again. I do think that there's value today, but, they scorned me yesterday, and I even said if they don't win tomorrow or yesterday, then, we're kind of off the Brewers for a while, so I'm going to lean towards the Giants. I don't think I really want to pull the trigger on this as a final play because I don't think the Giants deserve to be minus 135, minus 130-ish even favorites in this game, so I'm going to stick away, and this might be a good game to kind of assess how the Brewers are playing because that's been a team that we've bet a lot this season, and we've won a lot on this season, but they're on an absolute slide here, so I'm leaning towards the Giants. I don't love this game at all. Even the total 9 runs, I think is put at a very, very questionable spot there in terms of which side this ends on. Game 1, 6-4. Game 2, 4-1. And not like either team has these studs on the mound out there, so I'm going to lean towards the over, but this is a very, very interesting line set at the total. I would say that I wouldn't even be surprised if this lands on 9. All right, one of our winners from yesterday, the Angels taking on the Rangers. Texas won for us yesterday, and yet again, they're underdogs in this game as well. On the mound for the Angels, Jose Suarez, 1-1 with a 7.89 ERA, and Martin Perez on the mound for the Rangers, 4-1 with a 2.41 ERA. Getting that win yesterday, they look good, and the offense looked good, 10-1 in that victory, and I like this spot again, another plus money play for Texas. They're plus 106 over on FanDuel right now. So I'm going to lean Texas on the money line in this one. And I also like the over. We're looking at 9.5 runs. We saw Texas put up 10 themselves yesterday. And you have wind, meteorologist Ev reporting for duty. We have wind blowing directly out to center field in this game. At least that's the forecast. So I'm going to lean Rangers and the over here. I like this plus money spot again for the Rangers. Maybe they can do it for us 2 days in a row. All right, guys, if you are still watching, before we move on to the next game, drop 17 in the comments. 1-7. Let's see who's still watching this late in the video. I think we're right around the 17-minute mark, so that's why we're saying 17. So go ahead and drop 17 in the comments. And if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, you're definitely going to hit that subscribe button, right? And you're going to hit that like button, and you're going to use the hashtag ride of the day as well. But drop 17 in the comments. Let me know the real ones that are watching still at this moment in time. Let's move on here. We got the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Nationals here. Diamondbacks now have 3 straight wins, 2 of which are against this Washington team. They win 3-1 and 8-7 yesterday, which is kind of surprising how those 2 games go. Ryan Nelson on the mound for the Diamondbacks, 1-2 with a 6.39 ERA. Trevor Williams on the mound for the Nationals, 1-1 with a 3.4 ERA. I think this is another spot for the Diamondbacks. I don't think the money is necessarily worth it at minus 155 on the money line, but I do like the Diamondbacks and the over here. If someone was looking at this game and said, you know what, I like the Nationals on the run line plus 1.5, I don't hate that either, guys. They have covered that in 4 of their last 5 as underdogs, and I do think that they may have a slight pitching nod today, even though I don't really believe in Trevor Williams whatsoever. I don't think that Ryan Nelson, I don't necessarily believe in him, at least as of late either. So I do think that, this is a decent spot where it could be a close game. So if you're on the Nationals run line, I don't hate it, but I do think this is an Arizona win type of a game. And then in terms of the total, I do like this one to go up and over. All right, next game, we have Seattle hosting Houston, and this, I'll be honest, I think I've said it in multiple videos now in both games of this series. This is a series that has been puzzling me. Seattle catching the win yesterday, 7-5. Houston catches the win yesterday, or the day before that, 6-4. We did lean towards Seattle yesterday, so that would have been a win. We didn't pull the trigger on it, obviously, or I'd be celebrating the fact that we leaned in that direction. Bryce Miller on the mound for the Mariners, 1.5 ERA. Blelick, whatever his name is on the Astros, I don't know how to pronounce names, 4.5 ERA here. Seattle favorites at home here, minus 122, and I think that's the direction we're going to lean in. Yes, they've split the series so far, but I liked what I saw out of Seattle yesterday, kind of that resilience bounce back after a game 1 loss. They scored 7 runs. I like that and the over in this game. And why don't we throw 2 series back-to-back that I just don't really have an easy time reading here. Next up, we have the Reds taking on the White Sox. Michael Kopech on the mound for the White Sox. Ashcraft on the mound for the Reds. He's got 2 flat ERA, 2-0 record on the season. But can we back Cincinnati? I don't really love it. I'm going to lean towards the White Sox plus money on the road here. Obviously, again, this is a series that I just really hasn't had the best grasp on. White Sox win game 1, 5-4. Then yesterday, I think it was 5-4, also in favor of Cincinnati. I might have that final score wrong if I'm being honest, but I do think that this is just a team. Both these teams, I guess, are somewhat similar to some degree, and I don't really love either of these teams or really have a vibe this season yet of what we're going to get from either of these teams. So I am going to lean towards the White Sox just for that plus money. Then in terms of a total 9.5, I like the under here just because I don't think these offenses are by any means powerhouses. In our last game on the slate, we have the Padres taking on the Dodgers. Dodgers come through for us yesterday. A full unit plus money hit for us. They win that game 2-1, very low scoring. The first game was low scoring too, 5-2 on San Diego side of things here. But on the mound here for San Diego is Musgrove, 1-0 with a 10.8 ERA. And the Urias on the mound for the Dodgers, 4-3 with a 3.86 ERA. I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers again. They are slight underdogs in this one. You have San Diego at -108 on the money line on most books, and then LA -105 on the money line there. I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers again to get things done. I think they're a better team than the San Diego team. Now, I will say the San Diego team, if the lines, because these are very, very close, right? If the lines were to flip and, San Diego becomes a +1.5 underdogs in this one, I don't think that that's a bad play either. We've seen San Diego win the first game and keep it close in a loss in the second game. So I don't hate San Diego as a plus run line type of team here, +1.5. But as of right now, I do like LA here on the money line at -105. You can get that over on Caesars right now. So I do like that. I think they get the job done. Total 8 runs. I think we've seen two sort of out of character games for both teams, or at least, even to close for San Diego, even to close who they just play, the Reds. Those were kind of out of character games from them from an offensive perspective to some degree. The Reds didn't carry their weight either, right? But I do think that they get back to scoring a decent amount of runs. We saw LA against Philly score 13, 13, and 10, and now they're scoring 2 runs per game in this series. I think this one gets up and over, and we kind of get back to that. And that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you did, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We're going to catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.